Welcome to a Monday Football Scientific episode with me, Aaron Sauter, writer for Last Word on Sports. I covered the Buffalo Bills. Wrote an article today about the dynamic duo of James Cook and Dalton Kincaid leading the Bills along with Josh Allen, really separating them from their past year's futility in the playoffs and hopefully in big games. Hopefully it pays off this week when they play the New England Patriots. Also, I'm a writer for CFLNewsHub.com. I cover Hamilton Tiger Cats. Hamilton lost this week by a lot, but I wrote an article about how Tiger Cats fans should not panic. Everything's looking like it's moving in the right direction as we get ready for the end of the season into the postseason. Okay? Boom. Also, tonight the Bengals play the Denver Broncos. If they beat the Broncos, they will be tied for first place with Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC North, which is huge. Okay? So even with Joe Burrow out, they'll be right in the thick of things, way ahead of the Browns and the Baltimore Ravens, which is unexpected, to be honest, okay? Joining me today is my guest host, Tyler the Tiger. Tyler the Tiger, ready to go? Fired up. Bengals are going to win, and they're going to be in first place in the AFC North with the Steelers. Ew, Steelers, yuck. Go Bengals, go Bengals, go Bengals, go Bengals. Okay, all right, here we go. So, boom, first we're going to review the games of the CFL this week. Week 17 was a pretty eventful time. Calgary Stampeders traveled Montreal Alouettes. Calgary's been reeling from a ton of injuries. Vernon Adams Jr. came back to the field in Montreal. They came out on Friday night and returned 38 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Vernon Adams Jr. had a rough return. 161 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 fumble. Dedrick Mills had about his portion of that. Vernon Adams had the 1 touchdown, though. No sacks defensively. Montreal Alouettes came out. Davis Alexander came back. Their starting quarterback is back at the helm, and it showed. 350 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 95 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. No fumbles. Shea Patterson had those 3 touchdowns, so it's all about the Montreal Alouettes quarterback situation. They had 4 sacks. They dominated and had pretty much every aspect of the game, and they win the game 38-20 to pull to 8-7, and they're 1 game behind Hamilton Tiger Cats in the East Division. Calgary Stampeders continue to fall. They're 8-6, but BC and Winnipeg are trying to catch them, and they both got a win this week. They're 8-7, but Calgary's still sitting just in front of them. Not in the true standings. In the true standings, they'd be in 4th place, but on paper, they're not there. Okay. So next, Toronto Argonauts at BC Lions. Toronto needed to win this game to have it still stay alive in the playoff run. Toronto comes in with Nick Arbuckle back at quarterback, 281 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not a great day. 28 rushing yards, 0 touchdown, 1 fumble. They haven't had a running game all season. BC Lions came out. Nathan Rourke, 2 for 235 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Ouch. They also ran the ball for 128 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. Nathan Rourke had 2 touchdowns. So at the end of the day, and James Butler had 72 yards rushing but no touchdowns. They had 4 sacks defensively. At the end of the day, Argonauts cannot run the ball. They cannot control the pace of the game. BC Lions did, and they won this game 27-22 at BC. BC goes with 8-7, and Toronto's at 5-10, and pretty much out of the playoff run. Okay. Also, they clinched the Hamilton Tiger Cats playoff spot by losing that game. So Tiger Cats are the second team in the CFL in the playoffs. That's one reason I wrote that article today about Tiger Cats fans not panicking over this loss. Spoiler alert. Hamilton Tiger Cats traveled to Winnipeg. They had already clinched their playoff spot on Friday night before playing on Saturday. Bo Levi Mitchell and Taylor Pell both played in this game at quarterback, 254 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, interceptions. They were playing super safe. 113 rushing yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. Greg Bell had 88 yards rushing. That's still good rushing numbers, even though Tiger Cats came in really playing a conservative game. Winnipeg comes out. Zach Collaros is back at the helm, and he blew it up. He blew up his old team, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, when he had the opportunity. 390 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 0 fumbles, 124 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Chris Streveler was a big part of that, but 98 yards of those were Brady Oliveira's. They had 3 sacks. Winnipeg dominated this game, but Winnipeg needed to win this game to continue to be in the playoff hunt. Hamilton Tiger Cats already clinched their playoff spot. Winnipeg wins 40-3. Ouch. But Tiger Cats already have their playoff spot locked up. Saskatchewan Rough Riders, they They came into this game. They have a playoff spot locked up, so they're kind of playing. They're being conservative, trying not to get anyone hurt. They've traveled to Edmonton, who needs a win to still, have an outside chance to make the playoffs. They're really one loss away from being out of the playoffs. Saskatchewan came in. They threw for 351 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Trevor Harris had a rough day. 134 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 fumble. AJ Ouellette and Trevor Harris, 3 sacks defensively. Boom. Edmonton came out. Cody Fajardo, 305 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Not a great game, but not a horrible game. Clean, but didn't score. 89 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 fumbles. That's an ugly game for them. But they had 2 sacks. They even though they played an ugly game, the Edmonton Elks, Douglas went out and won 27-25 over Saskatchewan. Boom, they go 6-9. Saskatchewan's 10-4. All right. Next, some odds and ends in the CFL today and yesterday. Calgary Stampeders signed American wide receiver Kalen Horton. The Ottawa Redblacks moved to Calgary American defensive lineman Lorenzo Malden III. They moved the American offensive lineman Alec Rasmussen to the practice roster. They moved to league suspension American defensive back Mark Milton. And they moved to a practice roster American quarterback Tyree Adams. Winnipeg Blue Bombers released American linebacker Jonathan Jones. And in a surprising move, Hamilton Tiger-Cats released American linebacker Rayshawn Wilborn. He's been our backup will linebacker this season. He has played a little bit. He had 39 solo tackles, but he spent the last few weeks on and off the injured list and being out. So I guess they just got tired of him being out or he requested to be released, whichever may have happened. When I get more details, I may read an article about that, but I don't know for sure if it's either his request or because they've gotten tired of him being injured. But Rayshawn Wilburn is gone. So that's one less linebacker we have with the Tiger-Cats. Okay, CFL Week 17 Power Rankings. I got number 1, Saskatchewan Rough Riders 10-4, even though they lost 2 games in a row. They've already clinched their playoff spot, and they're kind of riding the wave, trying not to get injured. They still got, several games left. Number 2, Hamilton Tiger-Cats 9-6. They clinched their playoff spot. Now they still clinch the East Division. Saskatchewan is probably going to clinch the West Division just by teams losing, honestly. But Hamilton Tiger-Cats, they have 3 games left. They got Toronto this week, Battle of the QW. They got Calgary, who struggle with injuries, and they have Ottawa Redblacks, who they should beat. If they win 2 out of 3 of those, they'll be the East Division champion, and they'll get to bye, which may or not be the best thing. I mentioned that in an article today, that the last 3 Grey Cup winners out of the East, Toronto, Montreal, Toronto, all were second place and didn't get to bye and got a streak going. So, I'm not even sure if I want Tigers to get to bye. Number 3, Montreal Alouettes, they've recovered. Davis Alexander back in there. They got a big win, 8-7 over, whoever. They're right behind the Tiger-Cats. I think that's good. Tiger-Cats need to be pushed. Obviously, they get a little lazy when they're not under pressure. Okay, number 4, BC Lions, 8-8. 8-7, sorry. They're 8-7 after beating Toronto. They're sitting there really in second place in the East. Okay, number 5, Winnipeg Blue Bombers are 8-7. They're just sitting there tied with BC by points. They're all tied with Calgary. Calgary's 8-6, so I guess that's a 3-way tie for second place right now. BC, Winnipeg, and Calgary all sitting there with 16 points in the standings. Number 6, Edmonton Elks are 6-9. They're sticking in there. They're not a playoff team right now, but they're playing better than Calgary is currently because of all the injuries in Calgary. Number 7, Calgary Stampeders, 8-6. They're just kind of floating right now. Number 8, Toronto Argonauts are pretty much out of this thing because they could beat Hamilton. It would really be unpleasant, which is something they'd probably do at Battle of the QEW. That sounds like a rivalry game situation. Argonauts are 5-10. Ottawa Redblacks are 4-11, and they're out of this thing. Okay, good. So hopefully Tiger-Cats will beat them in the last week of the season and get to 11 wins. Okay, so that's our power rankings. I was short on that here in a little bit. All right, next. NFL injuries along the way. On Sunday, LA Chargers left tackle Joe Alt went down with a high ankle sprain. Both their left tackle and right tackle are now injured for the LA Chargers, and they lost to the Giants. Mental review those NFL games tomorrow, but they did lose to the Giants. Wide receiver Malik Neighbors, big news for me. Tore his ACL, done for the year. He's one of my top players on my fantasy team. He's done. Okay, I got to finally replay. Probably going to be Emeka Ibuka. I also have him now. He'll probably just come up and get off the bench. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kicker Chase McLaughlin hit a 65-yard field goal. That's amazing. These kickers are really on fire this year. Detroit Lions cornerback DJ Reed. He has an injury. He got carted up the field. Didn't hear a follow-up on that. San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Ricky Pearsall got a knee injury, and it sounds like he will not play on Thursday, which is big. They're running out of players at receiver, really, and they got beat by Jacksonville, so we'll see what happens. San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Jawan Jennings got an injury. They're running out of receivers in San Francisco. Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson had a hamstring injury. Cooper Rush had to come and finish the game. That's big news for me because he's in my other fantasy team. He's the quarterback, and it's a big loss. Nate Wiggins also had an elbow injury and was carted up the field for the Ravens. Chicago Bears. They won a game last night blocking a field goal. They beat the Raiders blocking a field goal. This is a pretty amazing way for them to win the game. Raiders look like they're going to win it. And then the Bears blocked that field goal and stole that win in Las Vegas. Cleveland Browns, they have made a trade for offensive tackle Cam Robinson from the Houston Texans. In addition to getting Cam Robinson, they got a 2027 6th-round draft pick, and they gave up a 2027 7th-round draft pick. No. Okay, so for Cam Robinson, they got Cam Robinson and a 2027 7th-round draft pick, and the Houston Texans got a 2027 6th-round draft pick. So Cam Robinson wasn't high on the Texans list of players, and the Browns needed a tackle, so they picked him up. Okay, Cleveland Browns, wide receiver Cedric Tillman has a hamstring injury, and wide receiver DeAndre Carter has a knee injury, and both will miss multiple weeks, which is a big hit to the Browns' offense. Baltimore Ravens Pro Bowl defensive tackle Nnamdi Madubuike is out for the season with a neck injury. That was confirmed by John Harbaugh today. He's done with a neck injury. It might be done forever. Someone asked if he's done forever, and he said it's probably Nnamdi Madubuike's call. Miami Dolphins, he didn't say no. That's the main thing. Miami Dolphins, before they played the Jets tonight, signed kicker Riley Patterson to their active roster. And they placed cornerback Jason Marshall Jr. on their injury reserve list. They're coming out a little bit beat up. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, running back Bucky Irving got injured, banged up a little bit yesterday, got injured. He's got an MRI today. Did not hear about that, so he's probably fine. Baltimore Ravens linebacker Roquan Smith pulled his hamstring, will miss a few weeks. Very similar to some of the other players there. San Francisco 49ers, Ricky Pearsall, we can confirm will not be playing on Thursday Night Football. So for fantasy owners, that's important. In the IFL, San Antonio Gunslingers re-signed 4 players. They re-signed wide receiver Glenn Gibbons. They re-signed wide receiver Austin Upshaw. They re-signed quarterback Joaquim Colazo. And they re-signed kicker Tyler Heedle. All right, so that's the news from today. That was our CFL Power Rankings. Ottawa's in 9th. Saskatchewan's in 1st. Tiger-Cats are in 2nd. They 2 playoff teams have punched their ticket. Hamilton Tiger-Cats, Saskatchewan Rough Riders. guys. So that's where we're at. Make sure you check out Last Word on Sports. I got Buffalo Bills article about James Cook and Dalton Kincaid being a dynamic duo in addition to Josh Allen. And then CFLNewsHub.com. I wrote an article today about the Hamilton Tiger-Cats, about their situation heading into the playoffs, and why Tiger-Cats fans should not panic about this 40-3 loss. You never want to see a team lose 40-3, but it's not that big of a deal, honestly. Win 2 out of 3, and they're East Division winners. And in the best spot possible to win the Grey Cup. Make sure you like the video. Boop, subscribe to the channel. Boop, we keep building this thing. Let's keep working our way up the ladder. Okay, Football Scientific for today is over. Rover.